take over. Hey, Dan, Brad, what's going on this Wednesday?
Hi, Scott. Thank you for the very nice intro, and welcome to everybody. We're going to have an amazing show for you today. Brad, how's your audio?
I don't know. How is my audio? You sound pretty good to me.
You sound fantastic, and I see, as always, Brad, you've got your hand up.
Well, it is Wednesday, day for questions.
A day for questions. So listen, guys, before we get started, I'm going to tell you it's going to be a little bit of a flip of the circuit. We're going to flip it around today. And I mean, we're still going to do a lot of similar stuff that we do, talk about things, explain high-level concepts, etc. But really, we're going to spend a lot more time on your questions. In other words, today's going to be more of a Q&A where we're going to go off of the questions you ask. Before we start, and again, I'll do the whole disclaimer and everything, just want to make sure you guys understand that there's a way to make this better for you and for us. And for example, you don't want to be asking us for the, the 45 period MDMA. Wait, is that
what is that MDMA?
what kind of, what's on my mind? MACD, something or other. That can all be asked, but that's better done in a support forum where somebody can go and formula with you. So here, but you can ask high-level questions here. Where are we going? What are you guys doing to take it to the next level? How can you help somebody who has this kind of problem, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we're gonna do lots of, and again, we'll answer questions in detail too, but I'm just saying, let's not get super technical for people that just don't do things this way. All right, let's begin. Thank you once again, everyone, for joining us for our October 7th Wednesday Q&A. Before we get started, we always do a standard disclaimer. Trade Ideas is not a registered investment advisor. All the information that you will be hearing from the whole team, Scott, Dan, Barry, Brad, or anybody associated with Trade Ideas at any point in time, should only be construed as for educational and informational purposes, and in no way should be construed as investment advice. Okay, let's move on. We're gonna always kind of bring it to the high level, which is you're here for a reason. This is our way to give you a little bit of a, I mean, it's not like that we self-promote. I mean, everybody always self-promotes, Brad, of course. But we do want you to know that this is a Patriot-owned business. And unlike many companies in the USA, we do all of our software development here by the people at the company. We don't outsource this to Vietnam or Russia or India or wherever people think they have cheap software labor. All of our guys are here. They work on our team. A lot of them have trading experience. And so that's one of the reasons why we stay ahead. So company is doing very well because you guys are our venture capitalists. Your subscription services feed our innovation. Please subscribe, keep your subscription going. And we're going to be on the Inc. 5000 soon, 5 years in a row, which is, I think, Brad, a pretty big achievement.
It's a great accomplishment. We know that being on it 4 years in a row is a pretty significant achievement as well.
Right. I believe only 15%, I think, of anybody who's ever been on the Inc. 5000 privately held, fastest growing privately held companies have ever done it 4 years in a row. We're about to do 5.
Why is that? Is that because they sell out or what?
Well, yeah, I mean, I really don't know, but I think it's hard to maintain because, you're always competing with new people who go from 0 revenues to like $1 million maybe, or I don't know, maybe from 5 to 10 in 1 year or whatever it is. Hard to compete with the new people. So you're here for a reason. Everybody is here for a reason, and everybody wants to get on the winning trade and make lots and lots of money, preferably quickly, and ideally, Brad, on AI while you're not even there and playing golf.
Well, isn't that ideal, right?
Right. Hey, guys, you know what? I'm going to pay $2,000 a year for the service, sign up for it. It'll turn my 1 million into 2 million, and I'm going to play golf. Okay, guys, come on. Let's be serious. That's not exactly how it works now, is it? And we say this because we want you to know that that's what lots of people sell. There's no get rich quick, but there is destroying the perceptions of what is normal. And that's what we're about. We want to show you that making 10, that's 20. Making 10, 20, maybe even 100% in a year is completely possible. And so, you know, as Pepe here is taking, Brad, a very close look at what a winning trade looks like, he found one. And would you like to know what it is?
I would.
All right. So many of you are premium subscribers, and if you are, you will have known that yesterday, the signal that we got to enter long was a buy signal in OPTT, right, Brad?
Yeah, that's right. That was yesterday.
That was yesterday. Now, there's a reason why I do this, because, you know, there's a reason why they pay me the big bucks. People always ask me, so, is this stuff for swing trading or what? And there's a funny thing about this whole notion of swing trading versus day trading. And Brad, we talk about this hundreds of millions of times over. There's really no such thing. There's just returns and opportunity cost of taking them or not. That's really it. You're in a stock, you should be in a stock for as long as it has sustainable momentum for you to stay in relative to when you got in. So here we have an entry at 212, and Brad, I mean, you could probably look it up. I don't know where it closed today, but when I happened to have looked at this picture, it was up 65.56%. And this is in one day. And by the way, I mean, and here's what I want everyone to kind of contemplate, right? How different, well, these stocks are smaller, meaning in prices, okay? How much volume is in this stock? Look, 106 million shares were traded today. That means you could be trading this thing in and out 20, 25,000 shares, Brad, zero problems.
I mean, that is a significant point right there, but the real value add is getting that data from the relative volume where you can see that's 43 times its normal volume, which is just an incredible number. A lot of participation here.
But the best part you were in yesterday. Let's all sniff this in. This is really what we're about, and it's worth the time to stay on the slide. And obviously, ladies and gentlemen, you understand and you know that nowhere do I imply that all of the trades that the AI makes are like this. That would be impossible again. However, I can assure you that no mutual fund that you are holding in your 401k is up 65%. That would be zero. I'm going to say, Brad, probably 5% would be zero. These guys are like, you know, 0.00015 of 1%, and then they think they're winning.
Well, it's the interesting thing. Like I pointed out that 43 times normal volume, but looking at yesterday's candle, the day that it was actually alerted on, that was even a more extreme volume. So it's looking at those different footprints. It's looking at different opportunities and different filters being satisfied and giving us an ability to really spot opportunities in real time. Not waiting till the end of the day where you're like, wow, that stock was up 60%, you know?
And I'm going to show you guys some other stuff when we switch to the software. But really, just again, this is what it's all about. It's here. It's very simple. This is what we try to do. And this is one of the best examples of success. This is why people pay the subscription for the premium product. This is basically, Brad, you know, if you were going to summarize it, right, this is the premium product in a nutshell, this slide. This is what we go for. This is what we're trying our best to give you. Okay, the presentation is done. All right. So this is really my intro to you. Right. Once again, we're going to go look at some of the stocks. Let me minimize the presentation. I'll come back to it at the end of our mutual fun time and meeting. So I want to make sure everybody is able to see my screen.
Yes.
All right, fantastic. You know, so again, today we're talking to you guys more. You know, Todd said something funny, just caught my attention. I've never seen a day trader stay in a trade for more than 15 minutes. I've never seen a day trader make money. I know I shouldn't say that, but I mean those guys, the 15-minute guys. I'm saying like the lifespan of a 15-minute guy is like at the mosquito level. You know, it's like you get in there.
Well, I mean, you're painting one picture, but I think of it a little bit different. The successful guy that's trading in these 15-minute time frames, it's a very small percentage of people that are able to do that.
Yes, and it has something to do with like age too. Like this person would probably be very good at playing Modern Warfare, you know, like the multiplayer shooting games, because you're like looking at lots of things and you're mapping it in your head. But guys and ladies who are here, that's not us. Not that isn't for you, and if it is you, then you don't need the help with it. That's the thing that I'm really.
Well, I think what I was telling Todd was that what we have are a set of tools that allows him as a trader, as an experienced trader that trades in a certain way, to really create his desktop in a way that's going to provide him the type of opportunities that he's looking for. AI may not be the type of tool that he's looking for, but certainly all the other tools that we have are going to help him out.
Yeah, so the OPTT trade was, Michael, that trade was yesterday, correct? So let me, you guys are watching my desktop, of course, and you're seeing the channel that I work on most of the day, and this is called the Shall We Play game. As you know, we have a channel bar that kind of takes you through various things in the stock market, and I'll jump back and forth from it. But I want to reiterate a quick point here is that one of the ways that I succeed is through applying kind of really evidence-based learning techniques to trading. And where do we get this stuff? Really, it's pro sports. Reps, 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 and reps. Well, also reps of good stuff. Tiger Woods does not go to the range and just shank stuff. You know, he's working on his technique. He's getting, a lot of times he has coaches with him at the range getting feedback. Okay, this is great, that's not as good, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Professional athletes do way more reps of everything than amateurs. That's just the way it is. And as a result, they make the money. How do you do reps in the stock market without losing your tush? But ass, if I may say, okay? Well, the answer is simulated trading. A lot of you guys want to get in, start banging it out with the real money, but that's always problematic when you have not done it before and when you lack certain experiences of managing your emotions. And Brad, one of the best things I think I've ever said is, how are you ever going to learn what it feels like to make $19,000? Okay, like what were the oscillations? How do you go, Brad, from 10 to 20 in one day? And
put some size on with the right calls.
Well, correct, but what I'm saying is until you experience it through eyes and in this environment where you can test it, you're not going to be able to do it in real life. You have to practice your technique first. And after the practice, after you get positive feedback, so this software right now, this is my driving range, this is simulated mode. Brad, is it giving me positive feedback?
I think it's giving you very positive feedback.
Right.
Confirming your thoughts, right?
How do I know that?
Well, you know that based on your P&L, you know it based on your total P&L, you know it based on your today's P&L.
Yep.
You know, every one of those. Plus, if you were to individually pull them up on a chart, you get a visual reference as to where those positions were initiated compared to where they are right now. I mean, you're looking at a longer term chart, so it's not quite as impactful, but you know.
So here on our charts, you can change all the perspectives. Here's what the daily time frame looks like. But Brad, I love that you instantly, Brad's eyes are pretty good. He instantly caught that I was looking at the longer term, and I want to explain why I was doing that. When sometimes it's very helpful, to get out of in front of the tree to see the forest. And here, Brad, what I was simply trying to show, I happened to have gotten into a great trade in X, which is US Steel, and I've traded the stock before from this move to this move, and actually took some profits and didn't do much, and then got back into it right here. But I do want you guys to know that one of the other ways, hey Mike, one of the other ways that you win long term is being able to get into what I call these kind of coiled moves, where if you can catch it, right? If I can catch this and you catch the trend change, well, that could be something that is a lifer. A lifer is one of those things that is the holy grail of trading. It's what everybody searches for. It's that, oh, I bought Apple in 2010. It did so good. Oh, I bought Amazon in 2008. I'm a genius. Look.
Nice trade.
Right, right. But that's what we're talking about here, okay? Once again, you know, imagine a stock like US Steel going from 846 back to 30. Quite the percentage gain. And notice what I'm doing here. I'm trying to paint you guys a bigger picture. These are the moves that professional traders look for. It's like the percolation, the coiled percolation. Brad, have you ever heard that term?
Coiled percolation. I'm just going to have to put that one in the back of my mind and try to remember it.
Correct. I do this on the fly. But the idea is that there's two things. I want you to see that we have what's doing, can't speak English, that we do what's called applied tutelage, where we teach you by example. We create technology around real experiences versus focus groups and bullshit. Okay, so here we're constantly focusing on our P&L. I'm focusing on feedback from my positions. And in fact, if you go to the time frames here and you go back to the daily, you can really say that where I got in, Brad, was I really in any trouble at any point in time here?
I don't think you were.
No.
And you actually probably got it a little bit lower and averaged. I'm assuming that's probably what happened, which is why your line is kind of in the middle of the kind of no man's land right there.
Correct. I saw this really big sell-off, and we've talked about concepts like mean reversion, which I love. Okay, mean reversion is something everybody should look up. It's kind of just like trading when you think something unusual is going on, like panic. Warren Buffett's even said, you know, you want to be buying when there's blood in the streets and stuff like that. But that whole concept is really mean reversion. If something happens, supply and demand get out of whack. You don't need to get all emotional.
And then couple that with some type of fundamental reason that you like the sector or the stock, then boy, you have a reason to do it.
Right. And then Brad, the other thing that I want to keep people focused on is look at the dotted line right here. What's that doing for me, Brad? So here I am.
So what that's doing, it's giving you a visual reference. If you're going to take a longer term position in this, based on the volatility of the stock over the last period of time, it's telling you that you could expect this thing to possibly go down to that level, you know, if you're going to be holding it. So just kind of shows you some volatility.
Right. And Brad, but for me, what's really kind of cool about this, right, that this is where you play chess, poker, blackjack all together. Notice that in this particular case, on this practice move, I put my largest position on, right, where I am both feel the coiledness, like I am going reverse of this big spike, and then I'm also very close to the exit. In other words, I don't have a lot of danger where if all of a sudden things really started to get ugly, I know exactly where my out is. This is a huge advantage for everybody who is self-directed. You have to know your exit ahead of time, and we do this for every stock, okay? So I'm gonna point something here, okay? Here's another one, and I'm gonna show you why I trade some of these myself, and also, again, there's a couple of different things here, guys. I want you to all be as successful as anybody in the stock market. And to do that, I have to do a couple of things. I have to convey the value of the software, what to do. But I also, like I said before, I like to lead by example. When you're looking at a slightly longer term chart, Brad, I mean, what do you see here?
I see it basing, maybe. Finding some support.
Look at the volume right here in terms of longer term. Does anybody not see that something big is going on? Do you see that?
Potentially.
In other words, it almost looks like this thing is trying to reverse some of this bloodbath. And it was a bloodbath, okay? But once again, ladies and gentlemen, that's where we come in, okay? We're the efficient predators. We have better eyes. So I want you to keep an eye on this. And this is one of these stocks that it doesn't trade an immense amount of volume, but look at the potential, okay? This is what I try to find using our technology, this incredible volume coming in on a base, coming off of a very long-term bottom, and we're still relatively close to the swing exit. Sorry, not on not on a monthly time frame. My bad. Let me change that to real quick. Here we go. Yeah, 873. Sorry, guys. By the way, Brad, we ought to maybe fix that. You know, like how we just found a bug.
Yeah.
So you guys, you just helped us. This is how we do software. The swing exit should be on the daily time frame, not the monthly, obviously. And on the monthly time frame, you're seeing multiple years, and so, etc. But the point is, once again, I'm not that far away to what's called the swing exit. So I'm able to hold trades like this X and some of these other ones because I'm just playing my chessboard of visual rules. You can kind of go see it for every single stock that I'm in, okay? Every single one has the same concept, okay? Here. You see it? Every single stock. And it doesn't have to be one of the ones that, you know, I trade. It's Netflix, Apple. You see the swing exit, you know where your danger zone is. Microsoft. Here it is, NVIDIA. So there's just this ability here with trade ideas. It kind of does a lot of the stuff that you would have had to have done for yourself ahead of time. And Brad, this is where I love seeing, when I see this and I see NVIDIA, I once again will say to Brad, well, Brad, but what's this thing called the smart stop? And how does that relate between the day trading time frame and the swing trading time frame?
Yeah, well, the smart stops, it's a different algorithm than the swing exit. The smart stop's looking at the stock's intraday volatility. It's looking at its relative volume, looking at its range for the day, and coming up with a value that's specific for an intraday time frame, kind of a risk factor. You know, I've been looking at some of the questions. Maybe a good thing to show people would be the different ways that you could enter into some positions here in Brokerage Plus, maybe through the chart, through the right-click menu, through the order entry.
Yeah. Well, let's do that. And this is once again just such a. I'm going to go on a slightly smaller stock here, and I'm going to point you guys to what's called the buy and sell buttons that are right here. So these buttons are buttons that you can actually click to initiate buy or click to initiate short because it knows you're not in it. So if I take this button and I left click on it, the button is active and I can drop it and I can say, okay, I'm going to be buying this at, if it comes down to 25.15. I'm going to move this and instantly place a stop somewhere right here. So this is visual based trading where you're just setting up your own parameters visually and then you can totally leave it. This is fantastic in terms of simulated mode because you don't really have to worry as much about the buying power sort of thing. And you can do this in any stock, okay? Let's take a look at Twitter, for example. So Twitter, I can say I'm going to buy it if it breaks out at right here, and instantly it places a stop below the low. So one advantage to doing things like this is, especially for beginners, you are always using a seatbelt, okay? Obviously we don't want to get into a wreck, but should you get into a wreck, you know that you are protected by the software that's helping you to not have to do one more thing. So notice once again, I'm doing all of this and these orders are placed automatically. Okay, let's go to another stock, AUVI, and I already have a position in it in practice mode, but I'm gonna go put a buy order here at 766. Once again, as soon as I place the buy order, it puts a sell order below the low. Okay, and once you do that, you can then take that and drag it anywhere you want it. Okay, drag it a little lower. So this is one advantage to using trade ideas, because as we've said before, you spend so much time under the hood in trading platforms where you're not really managing your risk and working on the ideas. You're more fiddling under the hood, trying to figure out how many periods in an SMA and stuff like that. And we're totally against that whole notion and concept. We think what you need to be doing, based on our own research, and it works, is you need to be looking at things like this, you know, and again, you can zoom in, you can zoom out, and then making high-level decisions. I'm just practicing here. Obviously, in simulation mode, you have a lot of flexibility. But you say, okay, here, if this thing starts to break out, get me in. Whoops, let me grab it. And then get me out if it goes below. And once I do that, I am done. Okay? In, out. So important. It cannot really be understated. All right, Bern, good question. So in simulated mode, obviously, there's nothing that's visible. In real-time mode, if you're using this with interactive brokerage, those are real stop orders, but very soon, they will be invisible, because we're creating a new order type that's kind of our own order, where we're watching this server side and the order is invisible until, so you would not see any difference other than the algos wouldn't see it. Todd, I'm actually not logged into my interactive brokerage right now today, and it would be a little bit of annoying to try to do that before the presentation, but it looks identical. So this is the thing, the interactive brokerage and all connections. In fact, here, let me show you guys this. It's probably a good segue. Notice here, so I have what's called our development mode enabled. So I do testing and I'm way ahead and all of that stuff. Bunch of trade brokers coming on. Alpaca's coming. E-Trade's coming. We already have interactive brokerage. TD Ameritrade is coming. Okay, so lots of things in the works here. So Jimmy, just a real quick answer to your question. It's not that we're not into indicators. In fact, we're almost over indicator. You can set alerts for indicators. You can put indicators in charts. You can do almost everything you need. I'm just saying that sadly, the poor investing public has been duped by the term indicator, because they just don't do that much. You know, they're just another squiggly line. And ultimately, remember this: after you have placed the trade into the market, all the indicators go bye-bye. Okay, I mean, you can use them as reference, and if they make you feel better, we always joke around internally. We call it the whoopee, the snuggly bear. You have to really just manage the trade through risk management, which is a numbers thing, okay? Let's see, there were only 2 recommended trades by the AI today, exactly. And Michael, sometimes there's been as many as 20 before. Really, part of it is what our software does. It's watching the whole spectrum of opportunities, and you know, it's playing a very strong statistical kind of card counting, blackjack, and rules-based poker type of deal. And as a result, when the market is volatile in both directions, when it sells off one day, but then runs up the next day and then sells off the next day, well, statistically speaking, right? Statistically, that's a little bit difficult and harder to trade for people because you just have to be more flexible, or what we used to say, more nimble. You have to be able to get in, but be prepared to fold, which means get out, then re-enter again. So the software kind of keeps you off the accelerator when the opportunities aren't exactly completely set up statistically. Jason, you can, again, you don't need to enter 2 orders. All of that is done by itself. So when at least visually, when I put in buy, the sell is automatically generated. So there's one of the ways the AI enters the trades, kind of along the lines of what Jason is talking about, is that you can do, let me show you guys here, tools, options, okay, AI trade size. One of the things that you can do, so this is just based on risk, and I'm showing you here, I'm investing $1,100 per trade. I can do shares. I can say, okay, buy me 500 shares. Or I can do this, which is kind of really cool. It says, depending on what the stop loss is, I don't want to lose more than $200 per trade. Okay, so it will share size automatically for you for that. Okay. Okay, so Todd, great question. I love Todd's question. You cannot see level 2 data on trade ideas. Can I tell you why? Because level 2 data in today's stock market is the rust-proof undercoating. Brad, could you explain to gentlemen and ladies, what is exactly rust-proof undercoating?
Rust-proof undercoating is something that the dealers like to sell you to add to the price of the car?
Correct. Correct. Do you actually get a lot of use in the rust-proof undercoating? Are you? Not really. Okay, back in the day, so listen, now, unfortunately, we're gonna have to age ourselves here. Todd, you're forcing Brad's hand. Brad and I are super old, okay? Hundreds and hundreds of years old in stock market terms. And what that means is, back when we used to trade, level 2 data was important. You know why? Because it was in quarters or eighths. Back when we were trading, when it went from
I remember it went to 16ths, and we were like,
oh my gosh, guys, the spread's only a 16. Oh, howling like wolves. Okay, yes, that's right, Todd. We're old. But old, but very handsome. Old, but very handsome. But as a result, but what happened was very quickly, the market in terms of level 2 got caught up and realized that people were taking advantage of the fact that the institutions were idiots. And so you started to have all this stuff where instead of showing you real size, you could auto refresh 100 shares. There were all these algorithms, and they were all embedded inside level 2. Today, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to save you $200 a month. You don't need level 2, no matter what it is, no matter what entry you're doing, no matter if you think, oh my gosh, look, 15 cents below, there's a real buyer.
$200 a month for that.
How much is it?
It's not 200.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not 200.
Brad, come on. I don't know how much it is. I never use it. But the point is, you don't need it. And save yourself some money. It is the rust-proof undercoating. There's no amount of level 2ing that you need to be doing where you're worried about. If your entry criteria is level 2 centric, you're the dude in the modern warfare that we talked about. Mike, yes, our everything in Trade Ideas is in real time. We are a registered real-time market data revendor. We connect directly to the exchanges with our fat pipes. We reprocess all that data. We put it into our server, and you are watching it from us, all of our clients, meaning our software that you get, and the software you're seeing on my screen, or even our web-based software is what's called the thin client, a paper client. In other words, there's no processing really being done on the software. It's all server side. You're just seeing the data.
Well, and that's because we create a lot of different data that you just don't get from the exchanges, and that's one of the reasons why Trade Ideas is so powerful.
Yes, we make new data in. So really, the kind of cool thing is, Brad really just said it, is that as the market is churning along, Trade Ideas isn't just watching the stock market, but for every stock, it's creating new data points and then infusing those data points into the matrix of information for that stock, and then reprocessing the analysis based on its own new data. It's kind of amazing. I love it. 17 years, Brad, I still love it.
That's good. It's powerful stuff. I mean, it really did sound like you were making a bunch of stuff up right there, but it's so true, right? I mean, we're keeping track of every stock, every different time frame that it trades in. What's the volatility of that stock? You know, how much volume on every single time frame. So when something crazy or weird happens, boy, we're ready for it.
Absolutely. So, Mike, you're saying you're trading options in and out in under a minute. I mean, you can trade. First of all, we don't trade options at Trade Ideas. You're only trading stocks, so you can trade stocks in a minute if that is what you want to do. Totally can do it. Brad, can you talk about the sector-based watch list feature?
Yeah, why don't you go to that channel? We have a little sector channel. Go down. It's got a nice little icon right there. Sector status. I think that's what you're talking about.
Let's talk about it.
So right here, this is a channel, one of the many different channels that we have on the software, all pre-configured for you. So it's a great way to get started. But on this particular channel, we put together a bunch of different sectors and then the components of those particular sectors. So you can see, you know, where's the value today? Where's all the money going today? What stocks are really winning and which ones are losing? Had a good day today. You can see all the green on the board right here, but it's really your pick of which sector you want to go to and drill down into.
And one of the cool, so what channel is this? See, it's called the sector status. Remember, on the left-hand side on the channel bar, right here, you will see on when you press the channel. You can customize the channel bar yourself by going right here and creating your own channels as a layout. So this is a channel right here, Battle Station, is one that I created. So everything is customizable, guys. Not only that, but we've talked about that once you get over the learning curve, okay, you're also able to create your own formulas. And I don't get into that here, primarily because I got like C's on my major in college. But for those of you that didn't, you can really get into the mathematics of building almost, Brad, is it kind of like your own alert?
Yeah, well, they're actually your own filters, and then you can assign some of the different alerts that we have to it. But you just need a little bit of math. You don't need to be a programmer. You don't even need to be that brilliant here. Just a little bit of math, and you can take any of the variables that we have, any of the filters that we have, and massage them with each other. Do some math manipulation, and then we also have a few other variables that aren't in the filters. So pretty powerful stuff.
And Dale, the channels are available to everybody, absolutely. So one of the things that's also happening, guys, do you see how the software is changing stocks by itself? That's called idea surfing. In other words, it's going through the different things without you doing anything. It's just kind of jumping and giving you ideas. And whenever you see something that you may like, right, you can just go click right here and give it a heart like you would on Twitter or whatever, and now it's going to be followed for you until you remove it. Great question, Joachim. I don't know if I can answer that question. See, that's why I don't do formula editing.
That kind of leads us to our Market Explorer, and that's something that we are really expanding upon right now, where it's going to give you a little bit more ability to go back to previous candles and relativeness to those previous candles. So that's something that we do have in the development pipeline. Right now, with respect to the filters, it doesn't really allow you to do that in that regard. It's more like anything that we have, like a 60-minute range or a 5-day range, or just any one of the filters that we have. You can then manipulate those, but you can't necessarily change them and augment them based on the different candles.
So Mike was saying, is it like a heat map? And then you can drill down onto it. When he said that, you know what came to me, Brad? It's kind of like a heat map on steroids that's also the steroid dealer.
Well, it's true. I mean, what, the multivariant color assisted sort? That's
yeah. So everything you can sort, you know, remember you can drill down into all columns, move things around. Let me go back to, let's go to a couple of other channels. By the way, these windows over here, they stay because they're my pin windows that I've been using to kind of just demonstrate various things. But one example, by the way, is this position and range indicator, which you can sort by what's closest to highs, what's closest to lows, you know, compare that to relative volume on the fly. There's just so much drilling down that we allow that it just isn't available anywhere else because it's all our custom data. Yeah, all the halts come in real time. Okay. We were even going to make a channel on it. I don't know if we did. But yes, halts are available, easily done. And remember, guys, we talked about how on this Q&A, we don't necessarily drill super deep into, but we just try to cover lots of topics. So Alpha Predator, Don, is a channel that's designed to kind of capture alpha, which is unusual returns, okay? Unusual returns, and if you look at it, look at today, 92%, 49%, and that's not a gap up either, you know, 30%. Think about that in terms of what the institutions and the mutual funds try to tell you. They're steady as she goes, 1.5% a year. Right, so Abhishek, the way it works is you can create your own channel, and then some of the windows that you want to keep while you're surfing, you right click and you pin them. Okay, pinned. So these are pinned now, and if I go to, let's say, stocks I like, see, they stayed. Yeah, Todd, you don't have to do anything. It's doing all that stuff behind the scenes on the server room. Yeah, there's nothing that you have to do. Okay, that's the beauty of what we're trying to bring to market. No, the pinned squares are updating. Everything is updating in real time. And notice, by the way, see, you can tell. Yeah, Jason. I mean, that's the creme de la creme. So what I want to do is we're getting ready, kind of heading more towards the end of our presentation. And again, we cover things like earnings. There's an earnings channel. There's all sorts of different sector type of channels. Explosive winners. This is your big winners on volume. And notice how there's just different types. There's the ones today, the ones for the week, biggest winners all year. You got to have that kind of perspective to see what's really going on. Okay. You know, all of us would have wanted to be in Trill at 5. Brad, do we have a channel explanation? I know that we
do. We do. Send an email to info@trade-ideas.com, and we have a link that we can direct you to.
Jason, there's no trial for the software. I kind of explained why that is, because if you get a free trial, you don't use it. This is and I know I may not be talking to you directly, you could be the exception, but the rule is generally anything for free is treated that way. You should have no issue with paying a month or more full subscription to get an understanding and idea of what we do. That is the way it's done. Forget the venture capital bullshit of giving you crap for free that stinks. Good stuff costs money. I like that, Dale. Nobody wants to drive a Ford Escort. I think any kind of good standard PC nowadays, Brad, I don't even know what I have under the hood in my PC.
Yeah, I mean, it's
I don't even know
really,
the same. Wait, hold on. Is it a Pentium?
it's not a Pentium. It's something more than that. But you know, we don't really. It doesn't really require a whole lot. I think that if you had 8 gigabytes of RAM, you know, a decent processor, that's all you need. Really, the heavy crunching is being done on our server. A little bit of bandwidth to get you the data is good, but that's about all you need.
Yeah, and I think Mike maybe had some point. A good monitor is very important.
You don't need the 4K monitor. You know, that's not. I think better than a 4K monitor is actually having a couple monitors.
Well, also, instead of 4K, it's something about the refresh rate. I just learned this from one of our guys. It's not the 4K per se, it's how they're refreshing. Jimmy, so we have what's called the trade of the week. For free, every week you get a brand new trade of the week. And you know what a great one was on Monday? Smith & Wesson. What the heck is the symbol, Brad?
I'll tell you in 1 second, because I happen to be in it. It's SWBI.
SWBI. Killing it. Oh, wait. That's Smith & Wesson. I can't say it. That's racist. Alexander, our pleasure. That's what we're all about. All right, guys. Let's finish up. I love today's session. Going back to Cali for the OPTT. This is where we left off. Our good friend Barry Anderson runs the trading room that we have at trade-ideas.com/trading room. It's a great way for anybody to get started, get additional support. And we recommend it highly. It's a community of very experienced and new traders together working in symphonic harmony. Okay, please check that out. Free ebook on working the earnings at trade-ideas.com/earnings. And we did one about short selling. And I got to tell you guys, in terms of simulated trading, start short, then learn how to buy. It will advance your career years. Learn to play the downside, and the upside becomes super duper easy. As you have asked before, the key to our success and why we're on the Inc. 5000 is our support every day, from the email support to our Q&A webinar to what you see here, which is trade-ideas.com/live daily support sessions every single day. All sorts of different education tailored to all levels. And of course, there is the YouTube channel that has every single part of Trade Ideas that you want, sliced and diced, ready for you to review at your convenience 24/7. As I mentioned before, we don't have a free trial because you don't want it. Okay, I know you think you want it, but you don't. We've had open houses, and we're going to have one in November after the election. So that's going to be coming up, a 2-week, all-you-can-eat trial of the software for, Brad, what do you charge, $8.88?
Yeah, that's for the test drive, the 2-week test drive. Really just covers the data.
Right. So what I say about learning to play the downside, it's if you're learning to trade stocks, it is better to learn going short first and then buying. Everybody buys, right? Everybody buys. Buy, and hold. Oof. I buy and then I hold. Genius. Okay, but that's not really how it's done successfully. Learn how to sell first and play the short side, which you play for shorter periods of time. Yeah, and obviously, this is just a recommendation. And then once you learn the downside, the upside instantly, you understand it much better. So that's just a recommendation for educational purposes only. We are a subscription-based service. You guys are our venture capitalists. We serve you, and that's where all the innovation comes from. This is how much it is per day. But of course, we charge monthly and or yearly. And at the very, very most expensive end of the price range, it's like $2,200 a month for the year, which is zero for AI that you're using for yourself. And today, if you use fall savings, you get 15% off your first month or year off of Trade Ideas. We also do a podcast, so please search for that on your podcast search engine. And we love talking to our customers. As you can see, myself, Brad, so many of us do it. We're active on social media. Please like us on Twitter, on Facebook. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out, info@trade-ideas.com, or call us at your convenience. Thank you once again for listening to myself, Brad, the whole team. We hopefully will see you guys soon.
Bye, everybody.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you. Take care.